I walked down onto Bridlington Harbour. It's the 9th of March 2025 on a Sunday, and it's quite a warm day. It's 10°C at the moment, which is quite high for the east coast of the UK in March. Some of Bridlington's lobster fishing boats tied up over there. Katie Slater, the fishing cobble. The Gypsy Race dredger tied up on the pirate ship over there. The tide is rising. It will be high tide in about 2 hours, and you can just see the mysterious tyres there that have been embedded in the pier since its construction, seemingly in 1958 or so. We're walking along this, which is Bridlington Crane Wharf. You can see the old sea latrine there with the exit. As I've said before, the tide goes in there, flushes it all out. Just a stone floor. People used to do the business on the floor. There wasn't anything else, awful really, but back in the day that's how it was. You see the exit there. It would be interesting, of course, from a historical perspective, but also representative of how things used to be back in the day. Active in 1958 when I once used it as a 10-year-old child, coming off a fishing cobble and a fishing expedition. But that goes right back to the days of sail. Beautiful day here at Bridlington, with just the very lightest sea breeze. And here we have Bridlington's famous pirate ship preparing to take passengers. familiar Bridlington North Beach in the distance there, with the white cliffs off Flamborough Head emerging from the early morning mist on this beautiful spring morning. Walking now towards the end of Bridlington's North Pier, which is always popular for fishing. The fish dock at Bridlington Harbour. You can see some of the lobster fishing boats tied up there in the background, and lobster pots there stored at the end of the South Pier there. One of the films I just took recently was of the old holiday camp area just over there on Bridlington's south shore. You've got to be very careful not to trip and go over the edge here into the harbour, because of course this is the North Sea and it's extremely cold at this time of year. Survival time is just a matter of minutes in at this part of the North Sea at this time of year, before muscle paralysis sets in, you know, reducing someone to a state where they're unable to swim. And that's also why you'd never get me going on a pleasure boat around Flamborough Head. I'm quite happy to go along the front here, along here. I think a lot of people don't realise the dangers of you know, being in the sea at this time of year. But that's also why there are no pleasure boats actually going around Flamborough Head in March. So many people here about 50 or 60 years ago, I remember it, and there'll be hundreds of people here on this North Pier. There'll be a whole row of pleasure boats lined up there, and you used to see them heading out of the harbour and going off towards and round Flamborough Head, sort of a convoy, sometimes of four separate pleasure boats, each full of passengers. I mean, times change. People now do other things. It seems to me that boats like the pirate ship now capture the modern trend. You know, of a quick run along the sea there and back, without suffering the sort of lunging and plunging. I remember sort of going round the head once there, you know, and along, I mean, there's no way back up really once you get a bit further along, and in one of the old pleasure boats, I don't know what it was, it might have been the Flamborian or the the boy zone, which I think might be now a houseboat somewhere in Paris on the Seine, but anyway, sort of lunging and plunging around around there, you know. The safety standards have got to be a lot better these days, haven't they? But it was great fun as a child back in the 50s, going out on one of these old boats. There used to be dozens of large fishing couples, quite large ones actually, tied up, you know, about the size of the big brother, sorry, three brothers or even bigger. And you tied up there on that what is now a derelict staging point, but there were steps that went up onto the harbour there, and you could go out on a fishing trip, a short fishing trip or a long one lasting several hours. And over there, somewhere behind the crane wharf there, you had a fleet of yellow rowing boats. You could sort of hire one of these rowing boats without any ability to row whatsoever and go outside the harbour there into the relatively choppy seas. I remember going with two of my uncles once when we were staying in Bridlington, and I said, "Uncle, I'm 10 years old and can't really swim at that point. Uncle, can we row outside the harbour?" "Oh yeah, sure, Mike," you know. So we rowed outside. I rowed outside the harbour, and I could see them sort of gripping the gripping the side of the rowing boat, both of them, you know. I mentioned this to my father later on, and he said, "Did you know neither one of them can swim a stroke?" It's amusing to think of some of the things that happened back in the day. So, you know, talking about the rowing boat incident, you know, this is Yorkshire, and the same as anywhere else in the world, no one likes to lose face. Neither one of them wanted to be the one to cry out, "Please, please go back into the harbour." So they just sort of stuck it out and hoped for the best. Looking at the top left-hand corner of my Apple Watch there's a 7 miles an hour breeze blowing from the east-northeast, which is somewhere in that direction, I think. But there might be more activity today with it being approaching high tide. I thought some of the yachts might be coming out of the harbour because the yacht area, the marina over there, or the yacht basin, or whatever, it's a beautiful day for that, but perhaps the wind's not right. The temperature is okay, coming up over 10°C now, but perhaps the breeze is not sufficient to bother coming out in a yacht. Bridlington is just a scene of beautiful tranquility this morning in this early spring sunshine. And so I might come back to the harbour shortly and have another look. But until then, it's goodbye from Bridlington. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care now and goodbye for now.